Hello everybody, this is Bitcoin Macro, and today I've got a very special video for you guys because what I'm going to do in this one is that I'm going to go through all my ideas on TradingView, at least not all of them, but several of them, and then I'm just going to move into some deeper data and just have just a general review of what has happened so far in the market, especially with the Coinbase thing, how I see all the data regarding longs, regarding funding, regarding maybe some on-chain stuff regarding like even the web traffic that exchanges get, maybe the value locked into several protocols, DeFi, etc. And I think it's just going to be a very interesting one because I'm just going to try and combine various different things that give me a sense of where the market is. Maybe you want to use one of them, maybe you want to use a few of them. It's just up to you if you want to learn some of that stuff. Clearly, it's not going to happen in one day. I'm going to give you some other videos in the future that include these things as well. But of course, if you want to learn more about these things, you can have a coaching session with me and I can help you with all that stuff. Also, you can just follow me on TradingView. I've been on there for like 5 years, but I've been just on and off. I was more active on Twitter at some point until I realized it was a little bit of a waste of time, but it was just quick, I just like to put some tweets out. It was just fun. But then at some point I just realized, it's better to have something that people can get more value out of it, because yes, there have been a few people that have gotten value out of my tweets, etc. But now I'm just doing it in a more structured way, in a way that can be more efficient for me because I run out of time. Like this time around, there are like all these time constraints. So it's just interesting for me as well because like every day I learn something, and the whole teaching experience, the whole presenting things to others have also helped me to understand things better. So let's get straight into what has been going on. And I'm just going to take the last few ones, just explain a few things, and then I'll move forward to analyzing more about Bitcoin, because I think it kind of matters at this point, because we've had alts go and do so well for so long, but we shouldn't forget about Bitcoin, okay? Because at some point, Bitcoin is going to be the one rallying and not altcoins. I don't think this is the time yet. At least I can't see that in the data right now, but I do believe that in the next 2 to maybe 8 to 10 weeks, Bitcoin is probably gonna have a correction, a big one. It's gonna have a few more in between, but I think that's when we're gonna have a correction, and then Bitcoin's gonna start rallying alone. And I'm gonna compare that eventually with the older cycle, but that's gonna be a topic for a different video. So YFI, by the way, you can just press this play button and it can show you what has been going on with the price up until now. Sometimes it's lagging a bit, so I'm just going to explain how I see things right now. So YFI had this correction, it came back down here, and then I think it's a good one for an entry right now. I don't think it's a bad one. Now it does depend on whether you're trading versus the US dollar or Bitcoin. I personally trade more against Bitcoin. Even the longs that have been taking recently have been against Bitcoin, because it's just a way for me to see things more clearly. When I trade against Bitcoin, I just filter the noise, because if Bitcoin is going to go up, an altcoin might go up along with it, but this doesn't mean that altcoin is actually strong. So it's better to have that kind of noise filter, because Bitcoin is a scarce asset. It's an asset that has demand in this environment. Imagine, just think about Bitcoin as being money, the money of crypto. Okay, clearly the money of crypto is not going to be the best performer all the time, and most likely other assets are going to be doing well. It's like buying stuff with your money, like stocks. They will eventually do better, and they're probably going to multiply your money. But when you have that correction in stocks, maybe 50, 60, 80%, whatever, you could actually double, triple, or quadruple your money, or your stocks, or your cryptos, by just holding Bitcoin. And that's why I think many people miss that point, because not only Bitcoin charts have more valuable information to an extent, because, okay, both are valuable. I think looking at both Bitcoin and USD charts is useful because it gives you a better sense of where you are right now. Sometimes breakouts versus the US dollar are more important than breakouts versus the USD, But think about this. What if the coin is at new all-time highs? Then what are you looking at? Yes, there are indicators that I've used, like pivot points, that are some of my favorite ones. But then you don't get much valuable information out of it because you're just like constantly all-time highs and you don't find the point of resistance. Maybe it doesn't look that great versus the USD, and that's because Bitcoin hasn't been doing well. But maybe something is brewing in that coin which is slowly moving up against Bitcoin while Bitcoin isn't doing well. Or maybe it's moving up against Bitcoin and everything is not doing great. So it gives you a bit of information about what could that be doing. Unfortunately, the Wi-Fi chart isn't loading. Anyways, it did pull back a bit, and that's why I had this here. It probably came all the way down here. And I do believe that once it's kind of reclaimed this level right here, it could do better. I'm not betting much on Wi-Fi because it has been lagging a lot. I'm going to show you some data later on that show that it's been growing in terms of the value locked in it. So next one is going to be NEO. This one actually did load. I don't know why Wi-Fi didn't load. So it had a nice target right here, quick pump, nice target. It could continue. Look, these setups, like, and anything I say doesn't mean that you have to take profits straight away. You can take partial profits. And I think I explained this in my idea as well. Yeah, this is just a target I have, but it could go much, much higher. And remember, like for NEO, there's like the version 3.0 coming. It's going to be an overhaul of the projects, like it's going to be a brand new thing. So it might give a pretty good rally. It might be pumping quite nicely. So another one, Mana. I did mention it in my channel. I did mention it as well on the video last night. Nice pump already, about 30% from, it was around 2000 Satoshis, and now it's pumping higher. So look at this, for example. You could not have seen this in a USD chart. No way. This doesn't exist. Like that coin was at all-time highs, but now I just have something very, very clean, and I would recommend that you guys read the idea. I'm gonna go Bitcoin last because it's gonna lead us to the next conversation that we're gonna be having from here. Look at this QTUM. Quantum, I don't know, QTUM, whatever you wanna call it. It's kind of early still. I don't know how well it's going to do. I don't know much about the project, but I like the chart because I like that it had this nice bottom right here. And if you look at the really, really long-term chart, that thing had a massive, massive capitulation. It's probably not going to show it on TradingView, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just going to show this part. So, but still, look at this. It's closed above the yearly pivot, closed above this nice resistance, probably like something like a head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders in this area. That was a massive volume node right here. It retested this and the monthly R3 pivot, and then it's going to go higher. So I do believe it could easily reach this point up here. And it's just one of the older ones that have been doing well. So yeah, it doesn't matter much of like what's going to happen. Like its fundamentals specifically, I mean, it don't matter as much as the whole sentiment of the market. So Digibyte also had a nice pump today. I mentioned it at 196 Satoshis. It's already at 232, about 20% higher. And in my opinion, it could go much, much higher, guys, because Digibyte has been listed on Coinbase, Binance. They had some arguments in the past. I think their CEO left and then they listed Digibyte. But this also looks a bit like a inverse head and shoulders pattern. Now that this resistance has broken, this looks pretty good. And overall, it just had like a full retrace. And I've just got to remind you guys that this coin plus Dogecoin and Siacoin have been some of the older stuff. Okay, so the older stuff have some correlations, especially the low Satoshi ones, the ones that have been under $1. Clearly, that theme is going to be playing less and less importance. But you know, there have been several narratives that I've mentioned before, and I'm going to mention in the future as well, that have been shifting over and over again. And I do believe that this could go much higher from here. Yeah, again, it has a community, and that's what kind of matters to an extent. You know, sometimes what matters is the army behind the people that make the coin, rather than what the fundamentals are, because it can be a very useful project, but if there are no people that are interested, then there is not much that can be done. Excuse me 1 second so I can open the door for my cat, my little princess. And now I'm just going to continue. So, and that's it for Digibyte, and now I'm just going to move on to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now, it kind of looks a bit like this, okay guys? It just like it had a little pump, this resistance. So far it has been like in a very nice, clean, bullish trend. Almost, it looks like almost flawless to be honest. Like I've mentioned several things about this key level right here in the past, that this was going to be an interesting support line. And now we're kind of in this crossroad right here. And I don't know if it's going to break down, but I do believe that if it's going to break down, this is probably going to be the bottom. I think we're just going to get a bit of a shakeout, the last shakeout, and then higher. Key levels are, this is probably going to be decent support. Then this is probably going to be decent support because it's a 50-day moving average and the monthly pivot. But I do believe it could potentially go lower and trap people to just have a clean break of the 50-day moving average, because we have been hitting the 50-day moving average several times, and whenever a support is tested several times, it tends to break. That could be even an indicator. Usually the market flushes everyone. It goes just a little bit, like it doesn't have to go like a ton below it, but it has to scare people and make them think, oh shit, the 50-day moving average has been broken, sell, and then, you know, have a big reset. Now clearly right here we have support because of the pivot, the diagonal, the horizontal, this, but we also have this little fractal right here that if it plays out, it could get us a bit lower. And I'm just going to talk about the Bitcoin chart later on and how has this been playing out as well, because we did come up here a bit, and I didn't put this one out actually, so I don't have to show the chart to be honest. But this was going to be a bit of a resistance, and that's where it came, because that was the breakdown level. We had a bit of a retest here, and look, it could go down just down to 59,000, and that could be it, okay? But it's just too early to tell. I wouldn't be surprised if we go to 53k, but I do believe that there are several things that point out that could be a solid support for now. Nothing that tells me we're going to go into a bear market because things have gone up. I do believe we're still very early on, but of course there are going to be several 10-20% corrections on Bitcoin, maybe even 30%, and maybe some larger ones in altcoins. Well, the ones in altcoins are definitely going to be larger overall. Maybe we'll get a few 30, 40, and even a 50% correction at some point when things get very, very frothy. So this is the Coinbase chart, guys. We don't have a lot of data, to be honest, so there isn't much to be said here, but I do believe that Coinbase won't go much lower. I have to say that I did make a mistake the other time that I was talking to you guys, because I just said that Coinbase was at 150 billion valuation on the pre-market based on FTX and all that stuff. But I don't know if I was mistaken. I don't know if it was the FTX price or there was some sort of issue with the way they were calculating the shares. But anyways, Coinbase opened at 100 billion, then it fell to about 65 billion. That's the valuation right now. Nasdaq was saying something about 250 per share. I do believe that's pretty cheap. I don't believe that's gonna go there right now. And I do like the fact that BNB is actually above Coinbase, like the total market cap of BNB is above the Coinbase stock, because again, to me it makes sense, because like Coinbase stock doesn't have many use cases, plus Coinbase is not as big as Binance. Yes, they do have more deposits, but overall the amount of products and the amount of use cases for BNB are way more than what would happen for a Coinbase stock. And even like, think about this, Binance listed Coinbase stock, but I don't really believe Coinbase is going to list stocks soon. And again, it's just like Binance will be improving and scaling much faster than Coinbase. I don't like Coinbase. I don't like as a company. I don't recommend anyone trade on Coinbase. You have tons of other companies to trade on. Don't trust Coinbase, guys, okay? At least that's my opinion. So last bit, I'm just going to cover this, and I'm just going to make another video because I've already reached the 15-minute mark. I apologize for making this shorter than I actually promised. There are so many things that I want to cover, but it's better for me to split this into smaller videos. So the last bit that I'm going to cover on Bitcoin is going to be funding and long-short ratios, okay? So right now, funding has gone down a bit, but we're coming out of a big funding period. Longs have been elevated for quite some time. And I do believe that eventually we're going to get a correction. Maybe not yet, but I do believe that a flush is coming. And look, at some point, these things don't matter as much because the derivatives market for Bitcoin and for crypto in general is much smaller than, let's say, other markets have for, like, let's say stock markets have a derivatives market that's massive, whereas this one is not as large, okay? Neither with options, neither with perpetual swaps or anything. So yes, like total derivative trading in crypto is about like 50 billion, the open interest, excuse me. Yes, the volume is massive, but if the total market cap of crypto is between 2 and 2.5 billion, then 50 billion of open interest is not that crazy, okay? Like, I mean, yes, it will play a role, but I don't think we're like that frothy right now. And I'm just gonna explain all that stuff on the next video. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you like a bit the review to just get a bit of a sense of what I'm doing, of where I put my stuff out. Again, just follow me on Twitter, follow me on TradingView. Come join my channel where I put all the ideas out there. Like, I don't send notifications, so it's not going to be annoying for you on Telegram. You can come join the CryptoCube group. You can just visit the website and see whether you would like to get coaching with me or anybody else. And most of all, just remember, subscribe and like the video, guys. I appreciate the support. I've been getting lots of positive feedback, and I'm happy to even get negative feedback because I don't feel like I'm at my maximum, at my peak right now, because I've just started making these videos. I've got like lots of knowledge and stuff I want to share, but I just feel like there is a lot more potential for me to grow and give you guys content and knowledge that is way different from what most people are giving you right now. So once again, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.